When the renegade group of gamers, creators, and engineers came together to form the original Xbox team and deliver the first Xbox console, we were driven by three principles: empower developers, delight gamers, and deliver true hardware and technical innovation. The original Xbox team lived by the mantra, there's no power greater than X. And today, we are proud to welcome the newest member of the Xbox family, fittingly named Xbox One X. Xbox One X, the most powerful console ever made, sets a new quality standard for gamers and game creators. Starting on November 7th, Xbox One X joins the Xbox One and the Xbox One S when it launches worldwide.
What's up, game players? How are you guys doing out there? I'd like to welcome you guys to a special edition of the Analog Circle podcast. Now, you guys know that this is E3 week, and I'm going to be coming at you after every single press conference. So today was the big dog for me. The conference that I've been looking forward to the most for over a year now. Well, not over a year, but for the last year, I've been wondering what Microsoft has brewing, what they have cooking. And finally, today, we were able to witness what their plans are for this year and going into the future. Now, you guys are going to have to excuse me because I'm going to wing it this time out. I did write down some notes, but I have not studied these notes. I just started jotting down, and I wanted to get right on here as soon as the conference was over. So I'm going to jump right into it and give you guys a play-by-play and give you my personal impressions of Microsoft's E3 2017 conference. So now, let's dive in splash. Now, the conference starts, and they show off the Scorpio's chip, and they show a few iconic characters, being one of them was Marcus Phoenix, one of them was Master Chief. They also showed Marcus Phoenix's son, JD, as well as the young lady that's actually in the game. They showed them off along with some other stuff. That's how the show started. Now, after they finished showing them, they showed off the actual Xbox Scorpio, which is now officially named the Xbox One X, which is gonna take me some time to get used to that, brother. But it will be available on November 7th. Now, they showed this console. It has a matte black finish. It's very thin. It actually puts you in the mindset of the Xbox One S. But they're claiming that the console is smaller. So after they announced that, Kareem took to the stage, who's actually head of software, and went over the specs of the console, and he said something that was very great to hear. He said all of your accessories will work with the Xbox One X. So if you have controllers, if you have an Elite controller, if you have a regular controller, then you have no fear. They will work on the Xbox One X. And they also say, of course, they're going to tout this, all of your games will look better from your original Xbox One games. And he went into some more technical stuff, saying that the Xbox One X will have a liquid cool vapor chamber. And he continued to say the Xbox One X is the smallest Xbox console to date. So they have thought very long and hard, I'm sure, about this, the design of it. Someone had said that they had put an Xbox One controller on top of the console, and it really looked like it was almost hitting the edges of the Xbox One X. I don't know how true that is. I haven't seen it for myself yet, but so far It looks like they were going for a more compact look, and it seems like they were successful at it. So after that, next, they showed off Forza 7, which looks great. The game looks stunning. Now, they showed a world debut also on the stage of the newest Porsche 911 GT 2RS, which that didn't really make or break me. I could have kind of cared less about that. I just want the games, brother. But for the gaming, not the game, but for the car enthusiasts out there that are actually fans of Forza, I'm sure they were happy to see this. Now, they also said that they have a deal with Porsche where this will be in the game and you'll have a chance to drive it and all of that good stuff. Now, as far as the specs go of the game, they said the game will run at 4K at 60 frames per second, and it will feature more than 700 cars, and it will release on October 3rd. Now, after that, of course, Phil gets back on the stage, and he said it will be the largest games in 22. They're gonna have, okay, this is where the mess ups are gonna happen. Basically, Phil said that they're gonna be showing off some of the best games, and 22 of these games out of the 42 that he would be showing were going to be exclusive. So I fastened up my seatbelt. I said, all right, Phil, you are ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to go on this journey with you. 22 exclusives, sign me up. Let's see what you got. So next up, they showed off a trailer for a first-person shooter that looked very interesting, very amazing looking game. Now, the character, this is all on screen. I'm trying to give you the visual if you haven't seen it. But the character got attacked by a big mutant looking animal thing that looked like he had real heavy teeth, and he was trying to bite the heck out of his arm, his leg. He was trying to kill him and feast on him. Now, they actually showed the character. After that happened, he slammed the door on him, and his head tried to poke out, and he stabbed him in the head with a knife. Just wham, wham, wham. He got back in the door like he was hurt. I know he had to be hurt. Had a heck of a headache after that, I'm sure. But after that, and keep in mind, God dog, he was in a sewer or some kind of underground part. And he finished up, got the heck out of there. He goes into the world, and man, God dog, the game looked really good. I was like, man, this looks so nice. And as the game kept going on, he's fighting more monsters and things are heating up. Next thing you know, he's trying to get away, and bam, out of the doorway, a mutated brown bear jumps out of this daggone, well, not jumped out, but he came from behind this wooden door. He starts having to shoot him, fight his way away from him. After that, he escapes. He's running away from the bear. He gets him down, and a train is coming. He goes and reaches out. It's a woman on the train who she's like, come on, come on. He's trying to run for the train. He finally catches it, reaches out to her, and they ride away on the train. Excellent demo. I said, good grief, I don't know what the name of this game is, but I am sold. And you guys, check it out, because the name of that game actually is Metro Exodus. Metro has had 2 different games already out years ago. I have never given Metro a chance, but I tell you, this game, it gripped me. I was very locked in to what was going on with this game, and I can't wait to see more. I did not see a release date for this one, but the game is coming out. And I know that it's not exclusive. All the Metro games are always multi-plat, but look for this game. Be on the lookout for it. Up next, they showed, oh man, the game that everybody was hoping was going to be there. Well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people were looking forward to this. Up next, they showed Assassin's Creed Origins, which also looks awesome. Now, this is going to actually star a character by the name of Bayek. And he's actually the main character of the game. Now, this game is going to have some RPG elements as well included in some of the gameplay. Now, they showed off the game's world, right? Which looks stunning. Absolutely epic. Now, after that, they went into actual gameplay. Now, this time, during the gameplay setting, you actually have, looks like a pet eagle that you can control, and it can be your eyes to actually hover over where some of the enemies are, so you can kind of map out your attacks without having to use the eagle vision to try to look through walls. You get a pure overhead view to see where you need to go in order to get the mission done as proficient as possible. Now, I have to tell you, goodness gracious, like I said, the game, you gotta go check it out. You have to see it. The environments were very lush, a lot of green, a lot of fauna. It looks so great. And I would just highly recommend any of you guys that are interested in Assassin's Creed Origins, definitely look it up online. I highly recommend it. I haven't been an Assassin's Creed fan for years, and I actually just started playing. Well, I haven't just started playing, but I've been playing Assassin's Creed, the one that was broken that everybody complained about, Unity. I'm playing that. I've had that game for 2 years, haven't touched it, and I've been playing it, and my goodness, that game is really, really good. I've enjoyed it highly. Graphically, oh my gosh, this game is what I say, 2 years ago. It was it's still a graphical showpiece as far as I'm concerned. You can see the cloth of his material on his clothes. You can tell whether it's leather, it's such oh man, the game is good. So it really got me excited to know what they're going to do with Assassin's Creed Origins. So definitely check it out, but I'm rambling too much. Oh, and also the character has a bow and arrow. At the end, when he assassinated one of the guys, the other guy was trying to run away. He pulled out the bow and arrow, and it went towards him, and it just slowed down and wham, got him right in his back. I said, oh gosh, I'm sold. So that happened. And keep in mind, guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to make this in half an hour show. I don't think it's going to work. And all rules are off when it comes to E3, man, because it's just a blowout of information. So we might be here a little longer. Bear with me, guys. But moving on, after they showed Assassin's Creed Origins, after that awesome showing, right? Phil got back on stage and mentioned Player Unknown and brought onto the stage the creator, and he said the game will be exclusive to Xbox consoles. Now, the game looked pretty okay. Actually, it was called Battlegrounds. Player Unknown. That was the name of it. It's a game that's been making its rounds on PC. People are going bananas over it, and they're saying that it's a console exclusive. I don't know how long that's gonna be for that. How long the exclusivity deal is gonna be, but it is. Now, after that, they showed off another exclusive that looked interesting called Deep Rock Galaga. Kinda looks like a indie game somewhat. It looks hey, it looks okay. Not anything great to write about, but hey, the gameplay may be incredible. You never know. Some games you gotta play to really appreciate what kind of game they are. So after that, next they showed another exclusive that featured zombies, and it's like it's a 4-player co-op game. At least that's what it looks like, and the game looks cool. And it looks like you will have to make decisions that could affect your character's outcome. Now, the name of this game, we all know this game. It's State of Decay 2, and it's actually coming out in 2018. I thought this was going to be a 17 release. I was very positive that that was going to happen, but unfortunately it is not. I was a little let down by this, and I'm not a State of Decay player, but I know plenty of people are. My sister-in-law is a huge player on State of Decay. Shout out to Sarah. She loves it, and I'm sure she was looking forward to this, but 2018, people, you gotta hold on a little longer. But after they showed this, they showed another exclusive game that looks pretty cool, and it's called The Darwin Project. That was about it for that. Now, I must preference this. Like I said, I'm sure you guys saw the show. I'm sure you saw the speed that Microsoft was moving at. I have to say, this show was at a blistering fast speed. The speed it was game after game after game after game after game. They did not slow down. It was barely any talking during the conference. It was just all about the games, man. So I'm just going to keep on moving. Now, after that, they showed off Minecraft Community. Now, this will be playable this is the cool thing. You'll actually be able to play with various people on various different devices. I believe PC, mobile, and of course on Xbox. Now, they also showed off the super duper graphics pack. That is what the woman called it, the super duper graphics pack. That is not me, folks. Now, it will release actually this fall. So for anybody that is into Minecraft, you can definitely look out for this, and hopefully it will wow you all that are into the game. I'm not really a Minecraft player, so it really didn't affect me too much. Now, after that, Phil Spencer came back to the stage and said all the games shown are available right now to pre-order, which, if it was something that caught your eye, then hey, you can pre-order. So after that, he said he saw another interesting game. He went and saw it. And next they showed off the new Dragon Ball Z game that actually looks super dope. I must say, it looks really good. It looks almost like, it looks like the cartoon, straight up and down. Looks like the anime, game. Not the anime game. It looks like the anime show. So for anybody that's a Dragon Ball Z fan, definitely be on the lookout for this. I know this is not exclusive, but they did show it on their stage. So after that, next, another exclusive was shown where it looks like the setting is in medieval times, and it looks like an RPG that's called Black Desert, which is actually going to be an MMORPG. So for anybody that's into that genre, definitely look this up. Black Desert. Up next, which is cool. It's an exclusive. That's dope. Now they showed another exclusive that was shown. And it looks reminiscent of Flashback. Now, this caught my attention. This was actually an indie game. I know it is. But it caught my attention. The name of the game is The Last Night. And it really did put me in that mindset of Flashback back on the Sega Genesis Super Nintendo era. That kind of game. It had like this techno kind of look to it, this kind of feel that just looks, it looks cool. Neon signs everywhere. He's shooting a gun. Dude, it looks like a side scroller. Definitely look for some video on this. The game, I said, God dog, this is interesting. So I was very happy to see that. That's another exclusive. Now I have to say this also. Before I move any further, they were not very specific on what the exclusive meant. Usually they would say a Windows 10 Xbox exclusive. I did not hear that pretty much at all. I think I heard it one time at the beginning of the conference, which makes me wonder Does this mean that most of these games, because these games that I'm telling you, they said were exclusive, they never said they were going to be on PC or like they say Xbox and Windows 10 exclusive. No, that was not the case. We know Phil said earlier this year that some games will come to the PC that won't come to the console, and some games will come to the console that won't come to the PC. So I don't know if that means that these specific titles might be exclusive to the Xbox One and not the PC. We'll have to see. But definitely the last night looked promising. Now next, another exclusive was shown that looked like a platform. Now this was actually kind of dope. It was a platform and the main character was holding a guitar. Now the name of the game was Artful Escape. Wasn't a whole lot to go on. Like I said, another exclusive, interesting looking, looked like another indie game. We'll see how it comes out in the wash. But the next game shown is actually called Code Vein, and the game is being made by Namco Bandai. Now, the game actually looks like it's an RPG, and we know Namco Bandai are the same people that are behind the Tales series, Tales of Vesperia, some games like that. That series, actually. So we'll have to see what happens. I believe Namco Bandai made one exclusive game for Xbox during the 360 era. I can't remember the name of the game itself, but it looked, actually, no, it wasn't exclusive. I don't think it was. It was a Tales game. It was another Tales game. So, X that out. Anyway, moving on. Like I said, it looked interesting. Moving on, next they showed Sea of Thieves. They showed, quite a bit of gameplay. Now, they talked about getting treasure from sunken ships, and people was, not skydiving, daggone water diving down and finding, these wrecked ships, going inside, getting the treasure, taking the treasure back to the ship, and they actually went into which you'll be exploring, which will be some coves, some islands, as well as having to fight against enemies. Now you'll be able to keep someone on the pirate ship. This was cool because they were actually going to the island. They were going to go scout it, seeing what they could find, and the guy was saying, look, if it gets a little too dangerous or you don't trust it too much, you can have someone on the ship that can be ready to give you a quick escape. So if it gets too hectic and you got to make a fast getaway, you just tell your friend, hey man, you got to pull the ship up, brother. We are getting shot to pieces. We need an escape plan. So I thought that was really cool. They had showed, a really cool thing I saw was they were showing an actual ship battle that was happening. And I mean, the cannons were flying from each ship to the other. And then an unexpected thing actually happened where the player jumped into the cannon, got shot out of the cannon onto the other side, onto the other ship, jumped onto the ship and basically killed the crew, hijacking the ship for whatever they could get. I'ma tell you, I was not very excited about Sea of Thieves. You guys know I'm not huge on multiplayer games, but this looks like it could be a lot of fun. Having your friends actually playing different positions. Everybody has a role to play, which is of course nothing new in games nowadays. You have a medic, you have a sniper, you have a gunner, whatever. It's the same thing, but actually putting it in a pirate setting, actually trying to go get the booty. It's actually really, really cool to see. So, I was very impressed by it. I understand the game a little bit more. And I also like the fact that you could actually be going for the treasure while your friends are actually watching your back. You have to be on the same accord with your friends, because if you're trying to get the treasure and trying to escape, of course you can't fight because your hands are full with the treasure box. So you got to keep moving. Your friends are watching your back, fighting against you, clearing a path. it could be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to it without a shadow of a doubt. Now, up next, and by the way, that game will be released in early 2018. So after that, up next, they showed Tacoma, which is nothing new. We haven't seen anything new about Tacoma, but they did show it off, and they said that Tacoma will be released actually on August 2nd of this year. Now, of course, that's another indie game. It was a lot of indie games being shown. I was like, okay, I mean, hey man, you gotta play your card. You gotta show what you got, Microsoft. If that's all you got, then that's all you got. So after that, up next, they showed off Super Lucky's Tale, which is actually a platformer. I was glad to see that. Microsoft, I thought he was Conquered for a minute. He really had me fooled. I was like, oh man, they brought Conquer back. They listened. But no, I don't know who Fox is, or, because that's what he looks like. He looks like a fox, Super Lucky's Tale. Either way, they did a checkbox of getting a platformer onto their console. I'm very happy that Microsoft did that. Will I pick this up? I really don't know, but it is good to see that they put it in their stable and that it looks interesting. It looks like a kid-friendly game. Looks really cool. Ratchet and Clank-esque. Maybe not as good looking graphically as Ratchet and Clank, but that's not what we're here for. All of that comparing. No, it's there. It's cool. We're going to move on. So after that, after they showed that off, the next thing that they showed was, of course, Cuphead. Now, you guys know that I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. I was really hoping that Microsoft was going to drop the mic on this one and say Cuphead is available today to download, but that wasn't the case. But Cuphead will be coming out this year, and it'll actually be being released on September 29th. So up next, which was another game that many people like myself were looking forward to, had a lot of high expectations for this game. Up next was Crackdown 3. Where they had Terry Crews actually started off, getting everybody pumped. Can you blow stuff up? I'm paraphrasing right there, but he was real pumped up. Terry Crews is a real cool guy. I like him a lot. But he had started it off, and then they went into some gameplay of the game, and yeah, it looks good. And it's gonna actually release this year. It's gonna release on November 7th, but I gotta say, I'm a little concerned about Crackdown 3. And I'm going to tell you why. Just try to make it as brief as possible. But they were touting, back then the power of the cloud and the game actually having so much destructibility on a level that we have never witnessed before in a game. The only game that I could think of with that is, of course, you guys know about it, Red Faction and Just Cause 3 and 2 and 1, which 3 just sucked. But anyway, they didn't show anything. They showed basically a trailer, might have been a minute, maybe a minute and a half, no longer than 2 minutes long, but they did not show any massive destruction. They didn't show any buildings that were 60 stories high toppling out of the sky into the gaming world. They didn't show any of that. So that makes me wonder, because I really thought this was going to be the show-off piece for the Scorpio. They didn't show anything of that magnitude, and I'm worried. I am really, really worried. Hopefully, during E3, you know how they have the on-stage, not the on-stage demos, but how they go to the different people, whether it's IGN, GameSpot, Game Informer, and they actually sit down, have them on their stage to talk about it. Hopefully they'll show the demo off right there. But man, that was actually a letdown. I wanted to see more on that and less on Sea of Thieves, because Crackdown was supposed to be that showpiece. But either way, I digress. Now after that, They, of course, showed a montage of games that are, that actually were indie games. They showed the indie game, spotlight, and Philly came back on stage after the montage was shown, and he talked about the ID at Xbox program for a while, and, said that, what he had to say about that, said his piece on that. So after that, another exclusive was shown that at first glance, it actually looked like a game that I'd seen before, but dang it looked very mystical and interesting. Matter of fact, I think I have seen this game before. They showed this game off last year. It's called Ashwin, and it's the game. I'm sure you've seen it too if you're an Xbox fan and really follow their indie games. It was the game that showed the characters with no faces. They had no faces, but it looks so interesting. It looks good. Unfortunately, it was no release date that was given on this, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But anyway, after that was shown, next up they showed a Square Enix game that we all know that's called Life is Strange, but it's actually called Before the Storm. And this game is being released on August 3rd, and you're going to be able to get episode 1 through 3, which will be released during that time, which this game actually has had very, very great reviews. Not a game that I've really gotten into because it is episodic. And, it's talking about female teenage situations, which doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, that's fine, but it just hasn't really appealed to me. But this game trailer looked very interesting. Of course, we know that this isn't an exclusive, but it was on the stage, which was really cool, and it'll be being released on August 3rd. So, yeah, really, really cool. It looked good. Now, after that, up next, they showed Shadow of War, which it looks dope. It looks dope. And they showed off the combat, where it showed off the main character who took over the mind of an ogre, who some kind of way he did some kind of mystical power, put his hand on his head and said, "You work for the king," or whatever he said. And he was like, yes, I do, mate. I do. And basically that was it. So they also talked about how you can assemble a group of people to take over territories, and you'll also be able to choose whether to kill certain enemies or recruit them, because one of the enemies that the main character was fighting against, he got him into a compromising position where he could have basically slit his throat, or he could have spared his life, and instead he spared his life, put him on his team to build up his team to make them a lot harder and a lot stronger to be able to take over different territories. So once again, this was not an exclusive, but it looked pretty cool. The only thing I'm worried about with this game, Shadow of War, and I'm definitely not trying to be a Debbie Downer on this one, but the gameplay looks a little stiff. It looks, it doesn't look like it's really going to flow very easy and smooth. It looks like it's going to be a little, just like I said, just a little stiff on the controls. So we'll see how it happens, and, well, not how it happens, but what happens and how it actually plays. Now, after that, oh my gosh, highlight of the conference for me. I know a lot of you probably won't understand, but up next was a breathtaking game that looked so beautiful. I mean, it was like something out of an amazing painting, an amazing, very detailed oil painting. It looked sensational. And the name of the game, I was so happy to see this, was Ori and the Blind Forest. No, it actually isn't even called Ori and the Blind Forest. It's called Ori and the Will of Wisps. And if you have not seen this trailer, God dog, do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube, go to IGN, go to daggone Game Informer's, GameSpot, Kotaku. I don't care. find this trailer. My goodness. Amazing looking game. Unfortunately, it was no release date given, but god dang, great looking game. So after that, now we're winding down at this point. Now, Phil came back on the stage and announced that this was another bombshell. Actually, this was really cool too. He got back on the stage and announced that the original Xbox games will be backwards compatible. Now, he also said, wait a minute, let me just talk about this just for a second. Microsoft is really listening. They said they brought backwards compatibility to the Xbox One, and they were not content. That's what Phil said. They're bringing the originals, the OG Xbox originals, over to the console, which they also, what's his name, Pinello, I forget his first name, but Pinello did say via a tweet that your original OG Xbox games will go into your Xbox One, or I'm taking it, the Xbox the Xbox One X. So this was astonishing news. I was very happy to hear that. I know it's not gonna make any new people necessarily come into the Xbox brand, but for a person who's actually been with Xbox for, good grief, since 2004, 2003, quite a stint of time, it was just like, hey, this is for you, buddy. So even though they didn't announce a Knights of the Old Republic, or they didn't announce a remake of it, I still have my original Knights of the Old Republic, and I'll actually get the chance, as long as it does work, because not a lot of information did come out about it. They said they'll have more to talk about in September, but if that's the case, and I can actually pop in some of my old Xbox One games, I will play, because I have Jet Grind Radio Future. I have that on top of Knights of the Old Republic, Hulk Ultimate Destruction. I would have a field day. And the thing is that when you play these games, they're going to have the same features of an Xbox One game being played on, not being played, but being recorded or streamed on YouTube. It could be excellent. It could be great. So very excited about that. Now, after that, he said certain games, some of them that were named was Forza. I don't know if it was Horizons, but I know he said Forza and Gears of War 4. If you already own those two games, as well as I believe it was 2 or 3 others, they will be getting a free 4K patch for you, so you'll be able to play the game in 4K. Yes, that is great. Great announcement. I was happy to hear that. Now, this was, the conference to me was going great. It was going excellent. But the whole time I'm on pins and needles, because I am wondering what the price is going to be. Now, of course, it was that leak where it was saying that it was going to be $4.99. I said, well, who knows? Maybe they could be doing a fake out on that price point. But Phil, he actually said the price point, and he said it's going to be $4.99. I said, God dog. It took me a minute. I clapped, but it took me a minute to take that in, guys. Now, it's not Phil's fault. It's really not, because from the beginning, Phil said that this was a premium product. And I have to tell you, for $500, as far as I've been told, and as far as I've been able to see, 12 gigs of RAM. I've talked to several different people who are on the PC, and they said it's no way you can build a PC for $500. You can do it with these same specs that the Xbox Scorpio is going to have. Now, the thing is, I thought they were going to take the hit, but I'm so sure, they're still taking a hit on the $500 price point. And I know that this is going to be a talking point for the rest of the week. I've been hearing people already saying that the conference was not a great conference, that price point is too high. You know, everybody's saying the name sucks. It's not this, it's not that. Listen, man, Microsoft said it from day zero, not even day one, that this was something for the hardcore game players. This was something for the gamer that wants that true 4K experience. Now, somewhere along the lines, and I am guilty of it as well, but somewhere along the lines, we actually started believing that Microsoft was going to sell it for $399. We believed it some kind of way. It got traction. We were saying they got to compete with Sony. I was a definite advocate of saying if Microsoft wants to compete, they're going to have to sell it at $399, and it'll fly off the shelf at that price point, because not only are you bringing in the hardcore, you're bringing in the casuals as well. But Microsoft didn't do that, and people are somewhat salty. Now, before I go any further, I want to let you guys know the last thing that Microsoft actually showed. The final thing that was shown, who actually a EA representative took to the stage to show off a game called Anthem, which, holy cow, god dag, the game looks jaw-dropping crazy on the daggone Xbox One X. Now, the game is actually going to be 4-player co-op, and it's actually going to release in 2018. My gosh, great way to end the conference. The only thing, I thought this was an exclusive. This was that EA BioShock, EA BioWare game that I thought was going to be an exclusive. I'm hearing that it is not an exclusive. And if it was, god dang, they could have won, man. They could have won everybody over. The game looks that good. Jaw-dropping graphics, man. But that was how they ended I'm about to say the podcast. That's how they ended the conference, and man, I gotta say, my overall feelings about Microsoft, I really thought they had a solid show. I thought they were strictly about the games, no talking. Let's talk by showing these games. Now, I do have just a few small gripes with the conference. The thing is, they showed a lot of indie games. There's nothing wrong with indies. Ori 2 is a big, huge, anticipated game that I cannot wait to get my hands on, along with several other IPs that they showed, which look very promising. But in a year where everybody is saying Microsoft needs games, you need games, people aren't going to look at indies. And this is a sad truth. But people are not going to look at indies as the games that should be showing off your new console. That's a harsh and sad but true truth. People are going to want to see new experiences, and Microsoft is doing that. I mean, they have Crackdown 3, Sea of Thieves, but the problem with that is we've already seen those games. And everybody's saying Microsoft, they need the games. I think they showed them. They definitely showed them. But people are going to skew them the wrong way. They're gonna say, well, look, yeah, they showed the games off, but at $4.99, I'm not paying that much for a doggone system that is only an indie game box. People are going to ride this $4.99 wave like it is no next week. And this was my fear for Microsoft. I guarantee you, if they had ended that conference with the price point of $3.99, the whole daggone place would have erupted. People would have been pre-ordering it right then and there. It would have been a heck of a show. It would have been that final piece that Microsoft needed to get people to say, that's it. They're fighting. They're going for it. Now, that is not in any kind of way me saying that the $4.99 price point is not worth what they're giving you in the box. It really is. Any PC gamer will tell you that you cannot make those specs for $500 on the PC. You can't do it for that price point. So they're doing an excellent job at keeping it there, but I thought that the backlash that they got last time with the Xbox One being $4.99, and of course the Kinect was in there. People were worried about the DRM. People didn't think they were focusing on the games because they were showing off TV. It was a lot of things in there that made people very, very skeptical about the Xbox One in the beginning. But that price point, that did not help the matter when you had Sony come in at $100 less. So this is the thing. Sony goes on this time as I'm recording this tomorrow night. They'll be going on. Now, I have a theory. I think that since the Scorpio is at $4.99, I don't think Sony is going to necessarily drop the price of the Pro to $349.99 because they're still undercutting the Xbox One X. I don't think that they're in panic mode. I think they're going to just play it off. They're not going to even acknowledge it. What they will do, they'll tell you that the PlayStation 4 is now $249.99 because that's what Phil did say. The Xbox One S is $249.99 now. So that's great. That's actually excellent. I'm sure those will fly off the shelf. Well, I don't know if they're going to fly, but at $249.99, why wouldn't they? Why not? So we'll have to see, but Sony, all they have to do. Now, see, this is going to be the interesting thing as well. Now, people are down on Microsoft. $4.99, that's too high. That's this, that's that. Now, granted, $499 is a high price point. But once again, like I said just a few minutes ago, Phil said that this was a premium product. Some people had it going for $600 and $700. So at least they didn't jump completely out the window and say $599. They said $500, which is still aggressive in my opinion. And if a person is looking at this conference, at Microsoft's conference right now, to be convinced to get a Xbox One X, then I don't think Microsoft did enough for that consumer. Because what they showed off to me personally, I had no problems with it. But I'm already in the ecosystem. It's already my platform of choice. I love the Xbox brand. It's the thing that I game on. I hadn't been gaming on it more than the PlayStation 4 lately because some of the, the offerings might not have been where I would have liked them to be. But I always love gaming on the Xbox more than the PlayStation. I do. But the thing is that for somebody that's looking at it and they're not in the ecosystem yet, I just don't think it's going to be enough. That $499 price point, I guarantee you, after you hear this podcast, you go on any website. I haven't been on any websites. I've been in pretty much media blackout mode for the last couple days. You go on any website, they're going to hack Xbox to death off of that $4.99 price point, and they're going to say how Sony is still going to win. They're still amazing. They're excellent. They're for the gamer. Here's Microsoft making this product that most people can't afford at $4.99, even though Phil already said it was a premium product. Well, y'all just wait and listen to the narrative. And when Sony hits the stage tomorrow night and shows off some of the same games that they've shown before, that's one thing I have to give props to Microsoft on. I didn't agree with every single move that they made in the conference. More exclusive IPs made by their own studios would have been great, but hey, an exclusive is an exclusive is an exclusive. But I'm telling you that when Sony hits the stage and they show off some of these same games that they've been showing off for years, and yes, Microsoft can be guilty of it too, but people are calling Microsoft out on it, giving the conference a 4 out of 10. I'm like, come on, that is just rhetoric. Come on, man. But when they go on the stage, Sony tomorrow night, they are going to get the most praise tomorrow. I guarantee you, they are shedding a sigh of relief right now that the Scorpio is $500, because they're going to play to that strength, that it is that price. And as they should take the gloves off. You got to sell people on why they should be on your platform. Right now, I think Microsoft, they missed the boat on that. They did. $500, I'm good with that. I'm fine. I'll be buying it as soon as I can. But for the average consumer, that's just too aggressive. Guys, that is going to wrap it up pretty much. I would give Microsoft's conference a solid 8. I thought it was a very good conference. It was at a blistering pace. They didn't talk a whole lot. They just showed games, which is what we care about. 8, a solid 8, not a 9. If that game that EA showed off was exclusive to the Xbox One X, it would have got a 9 out of 10. That would have been amazing. But unfortunately, it is not an exclusive. Who knows? It might be a timed exclusive. I don't know. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Guys, I will be back later on tonight to go into the Bethesda conference. But thank you guys for listening to another episode of this special Analog Circle E3 edition podcast. And if you want to chime in and leave your thoughts, you can call in at 443-261-4607 or email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. God darn it, I forgot to read the emails. Oh, shucks, man. Good grief. Okay, I gotta read these because I said I would. Okay, we're gonna start it off really quickly with Kelsey Stevens. Shout out to you, Kelsey. He had emailed me earlier today. He said, the name of his email is Please Xbox Gods. He says, I hope that today Xbox announces a couple games at least. They need to. Actually, I need to say thank you for letting me know about Games with Gold, because I now use that, and it's the first time in about a year that I've played my Xbox. Wow! I have an original Xbox, and I'm hoping to be able to buy a Scorpio before this year is done. But to be completely honest, I'm afraid the Scorpio is going to be $600. Excuse me. $599. But anyways, have fun watching all of the E3 chaos, everybody. I can't wait to talk about it when it's over. Listen, Kelsey, hey man, thank you for the email. I appreciate it greatly. And I gotta say, At least the good news is, Kelsey, they did not come in at $5.99. That's one good thing. They did keep it at $4.99, which it is still aggressive, but it's still not too bad. You know, I mean, I guess it depends on what your pocket situation is, but either way, Microsoft, they're going for the you know, that elite crowd, the hardcore crowd. And like I said, once again, what they're showing and what they have in the console, I think it's worth the money. And for people, like I said, and I've been beating this horse to death, PC gamers, look, man, you can't make a PC with those specs for $500. So, you know, just stop it. But moving on, Mr. Cody Clark actually wrote in as well. Now he says the name of his email, god darn it, is Make or Bunk E3. He says, is this the make or break E3 for Microsoft? Nah, that is something a lot of Sony fanboys like to throw down. That X is the make or break for Y. They aren't Mad Cats. They aren't Sega or whatever. Microsoft has tons of saved cash sitting in the back on the reserve. There will be tons of projects and gimmicks to throw out. They can take all the time they need. They didn't get a $4 billion loan like Sony. They don't have to justify the strange sidestep that is the Switch, or strange games like whatever that Ultra Street Fighter 2 thing was. If they relax their role and let everybody chill out, they can just be like, now that everybody has calmed down, we can drop the mic. Cody, as always, brother, thank you for this email. I have to tell you, I worded that wrong. I really, truly should have said, is this the make or break Xbox conference? Because Microsoft as a corporation, they're going to be fine. They are going to continue to be great and make tons of money. And that is without a doubt. But a lot of people were saying that Microsoft was going to sell off the Xbox brand, and you know, they weren't making as much money as the other factions inside of Microsoft, so they were thinking about just giving them the X, no pun intended. But in that report that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, they made over $1 billion. The Xbox side of Microsoft made $1 billion, man. It's crazy. So it's no way that they're going away. They're definitely here to stay. And with the conference that Microsoft had, I think that Microsoft is definitely committed to the Xbox brand. I think that at this point in time, no matter what Microsoft does, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, they are going to be the underdog no matter what. People are going to hate on them. People are going to talk bad about them. People aren't going to give them the props that they deserve. And they just have put themselves in that position, unfortunately, in this generation. Now, hopefully, as the year goes on, as next year goes on, Microsoft will show that they're there for the game players, that they want their gamers to be happy in their ecosystem. I think that them bringing the Xbox, the OG Xbox games, to backwards compatibility is a sign of that. And I think that Microsoft is just going to play it the best way they possibly can. And that's all it's going to be, pretty much. So, as always, Cody, thank you so much for the email, brother. I greatly appreciate it. Now, guys, if you want to be a part of the show, please, if you want to, you can definitely call in at 443-261-4607 or leave an email like Mr. Kelsey and Mr. Cody at 261-4607. Once again, I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and stay tuned. I will be back later on tonight to cover the Bethesda E3 conference. But until then, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.